Good morning. Today is Monday, May 12th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Andrew Garcia. Temperatures are set to warm up fairly quickly this week, with triple digits expected for Wednesday, mid-90s tomorrow, and thankfully for today, just highs in the low 80s. It'll be sunny with light wind. Researchers at UT Southwestern can attribute the cause of autism spectrum disorder in some cases to specific genetic variants. We'll learn more after the news. The Dallas School District's considering mandatory punishment for students who open secure or locked doors on campus. KERA's Ala Mokhtar reports the idea stems from last month's shooting at Wilmer Hutchins High School. A student let the suspect in through a locked side door.
The offense would go from a level 2 to a level 3 in the district's student code of conduct. It would be punishable by a mandatory 15 days in a disciplinary alternative school. The board will vote to approve updates to the code on May 22nd. For KERA News, I'm Ala Mokhtar.
The Texas Supreme Court has dismissed a lawsuit questioning whether an off-duty police officer's conduct was part of his official duties. KERA's Penelope Rivera reports the court's decision reinforces legal protections for officers even while off-duty.
In an opinion released Friday, a judge argued that under Texas law, Officer Chad Stewart had a, quote, statutory duty to interfere and prevent a suspected crime, even when off-duty and in private employment. The incident at the center of the suit happened at a Home Depot in 2018, where Stewart worked as a security guard. Another employee asked him to issue a criminal trespass warning to a customer that was acting suspiciously. Stewart called for backup, and 2 officers responded. One attempted to arrest the man before the suspect pulled a gun and shot both officers, killing one of them. For KERA News, I'm Penelope Rivera in Dallas.
Autism spectrum disorder is a complex neurodevelopmental condition with challenges that can vary widely on how they affect each individual. But there's been plenty of misinformation in the news and on social media about what causes autism. In today's Vital Signs, KERA's Sam Baker talks with Dr. Maria Chaurer, a neurogeneticist at UT Southwestern's O'Donnell Brain Institute, about her research into the role of genetics in autism.
For about 35% of cases, we can attribute the cause to specific genetic variants, and these are changes in our genome or our DNA sequence that can either occur spontaneously or they can be passed down or inherited. So far as a field, we've identified hundreds of genes that are involved. Many of them affect brain development. They affect how our neurons communicate with one another, or they're genes that essentially regulate the expression of many other genes. And environmental factors may play a role in some cases of autism.
Environmental factors such as what?
For example, there are some environmental factors that can affect autism risk in individuals who are already genetically susceptible, medical conditions and illnesses during pregnancy, also birth complications, and finally parental age. So it can either be advanced maternal or paternal age at conception.
Can you give me an idea of the work that you're doing at UT Southwestern in regards to genetic and environmental factors affecting autism?
We run a human genetics research study where we're looking for these genetic risk factors in individuals and families with the condition. We sequence their genomes and we look for variants or changes in the DNA sequence that could be increasing risk. This provides more rapid and more accurate diagnoses. Eventually, what this does is it leads to the development of treatments that are targeted at these genes and also targeted at the specific biological mechanisms that these genes function in. And, this leads to more individualized healthcare. We also have research that is focused not only at treating the symptoms, but also enhancing the quality of life, independence, and well-being for autistic people across the lifespan.
Studies linking autism to vaccines have been debunked, but those concerns still continue out there. They're still spread around. What do you suppose that is?
As humans, we naturally seek answers for complex questions that don't immediately have clear answers. And autism is often diagnosed around the same age that children receive their key vaccines, which leads to this mistaken belief that vaccination causes autism simply because one event follows another. There's also the fact that the misinformation that gets shared on social media, it just spreads very quickly online. And that's unfortunately what happened with the initial or the original claim that ended up being fraudulent and was thoroughly discredited.
In the meantime, the latest CDC report on autism says the rate of diagnosis has increased from 1 in 36 children to 1 in 31. What's really happening here? Why the increase in diagnosed cases?
The main reasons for this rise are the broader diagnostic criteria and increased awareness. So now more children are being identified because we've essentially expanded the definitions of autism. And also there's greater recognition of its signs by healthcare providers, by educators, and by families. There's also improved access to these diagnostic services, which is closing previous gaps that we had in identification efforts. And there's earlier and more frequent screening. So children are being evaluated and diagnosed at much younger ages, leading to higher reported prevalence.
Dr. Maria Chawrer is a neurogeneticist at UT Southwestern's O'Donnell Brain Institute. The Dallas Stars won Game 3 of their playoff series yesterday after losing Game 2 against the Winnipeg Jets. Last night's contest was tied 2-2 heading into the third period. That's where the Stars scored 3 unanswered goals to win the game 5-2. The Amon Carter Museum of American Art celebrates the 40th anniversary of Richard Avedon's In the American West series, with a new installation that showcases 40 of the photographer's iconic portraits. The show also includes archival photographs by artist Laura Wilson, who accompanied Avedon on his travels. The exhibition, Richard Avedon at the Carter, opens on Sunday. Find more info and other fun things to do on our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show is produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter and get good morning vibes from our colleague Catherine Hobbs. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.